Hi everybody, my name is Dana White. I am a registered dietitian and author of the new cookbook, Dash Diet Meal Prep for Beginners. And I'm so excited to be here with you today to share 3 of my go-to tried and true meal prep recipes that also happen to be Dash Diet friendly. Now, if you don't know much about the Dash Diet, it's actually nothing new. It's been around for decades, believe it or not. It's been around since the early 90s, and originally DASH, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, was created in the 90s with some funding from the NIH to help with a diet to lower blood pressure. And it's been tested and evaluated, and over the last several decades, they've realized not only does it help lower blood pressure and improve heart health, it also is good for you for a bunch of other reasons in terms of lowering risk of heart disease, help with weight loss, help reduce your risk of diabetes. The list goes on and on and on. And you can read way more about this in the book. But the idea is that I think what makes DASH so awesome is the fact that it's not really a diet. It's not restrictive. You're going to see all the different things that we're going to do here today. But it's really about creating a better foundation for healthy eating. And yes, sodium is an issue here. When you think blood pressure, you definitely think about sodium. But as you're gonna see, there are plenty of ways to help reduce sodium. We're still using salt, and we're gonna boost the flavor using a bunch of fresh ingredients. So for today, we are gonna start with an awesome sheet pan meal because I don't really like doing dishes, so sheet pan meals are a really go-to recipe in my house. Of all shapes and sizes. So today we're gonna do some sheet pan fajitas, and we're gonna do chicken fajitas because I think everyone's always looking for something to do with good old chicken breast. So this recipe has a minimal amount of ingredients, but then I'm gonna show you a couple of different ways that you can modify it for your meal prep. And I think that's the idea too, is that there's not one way to meal prep. There's several different ways to do it. And I think when you're trying to adopt a new healthy habit, new healthy lifestyle, like you would be if you were trying to have a more DASH friendly diet, meal prep is a good way to help structure that and give you some of that foundation that you need. So we need to save time. We need to, there's shopping lists and meal plans and all these things that I included in the book to really not only say, okay, here are the rules of this diet and here's the foods that you should eat, but some real instruction on how to do that in a way that you can actually manage your life and sustain it long term, right? So our sheet pan chicken fajitas, I got a little bit of a head start. And this is how the recipe goes, is that you're gonna just take some bell pepper, I'm using green and red onion, and some good old boneless, skinless chicken breast. Slice it pretty thin because this is a pretty quick cooking recipe, and the thicker it is, the longer it's gonna take to cook, and you wanna try to find that balance because you don't wanna overcook the vegetables and undercook the chicken and vice versa. So, all in the bag here. And this is kind of a meal prep to my meal prep. You could do this ahead. I tend to do some meal prep on one day of the week, but then kind of, go through other little elements of meal prep as the week goes on. I don't have just one solid meal prep day. So there may be a situation where I would just do this on my meal prep day, and then when it actually comes to later in the week, we might have this for dinner, and then I'll meal prep some lunches for the end of the week. So it really is flexible in how you want to do it. So there's no oil in here actually whatsoever. So we're just gonna bake this on a sheet pan, but we are gonna boost the flavor with some spices. So herbs and spices are an amazing way to cut back on sodium, but to make up for that flavor deficit, right? Because sodium, let's face it, it's a flavor enhancer, salt and other sodium rich foods. But the idea is that we don't wanna get rid of the sodium altogether. We wanna cut down on some of the salt in the recipe, but then we wanna boost the flavor, make up for that difference with some fresh ingredients. So here we're using a spice mixture that does have some kosher salt in it. It has cumin, it has some garlic powder, smoked paprika, which is one of my favorite spices on the planet, and some chili powder. So I'm using a pretty hot chili powder. You don't have to, you could use a mild one. You could just bump it up with cayenne if you like spicy. So I'm just gonna add the rest of this in here. I already put most of it in there. And in a way, we can kind of marinate this as long as you want. This would sit in the fridge for a couple of days without a problem, okay? All right, so dump this all onto a sheet pan, and then we're just gonna spread it out. So my trick for sheet pan meals in addition to them just being amazing by themselves, is that I like to line my sheet pan twice. So I'm gonna use a piece of aluminum foil at the bottom and a piece of parchment paper on top, and it's gonna significantly reduce the cleaning time, right? I would certainly recommend, you're still gonna need to clean a little bit, but it's gonna be, most of the work is gonna be done for you. So we're just gonna spread this out in a somewhat of an even layer. I like to have kind of the chicken over here and the peppers over here, just kind of evenly distributed. I have a little extra spice mix. This is like a little trick that I like to do, is I save a little bit of the spice mix so I can make sure once I put it on the sheet pan that everything is nice and coated. That looks pretty good. And that's it. So we're gonna pop this into the oven, a hot oven, 425 degrees for about 20 minutes. That's it. And really every time, sometimes, I'll make the chicken and I'll cut it and I'll say, oh, I think this is gonna take longer than 20 minutes. And then I surprise myself every single time, and it turns out that the recipe, that it really only takes about 20 minutes to cook. So really nice for whether you're throwing this together for a weeknight dinner or you're doing it as part of your meal prep for the week. So of course I'm gonna do my swap, and I'm gonna pull out one that I already have here that's done for you. Okay, the best way to know if you're a food safety crazy person like me, the best way to really know whether your chicken is cooked is to use an instant thermometer. There's no other way to go about it. You can cut it, you can look at it, you can press it. Use an instant thermometer. That chicken should be 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you know that it is cooked, okay? So I already checked this through the magic of prepping this ahead. So I know that my chicken is cooked to the proper temperature, but that's really the only way to do it. Okay, so now we're ready to pack it up, right? How simple was that? So I tend to do this in a couple of different ways, because sometimes I'll make it in bulk, and other times I'm also gonna be prepping my meal prep containers. So speaking of meal prep containers, my favorite meal prep containers are from my friends at Meal Prep on Fleek. So they have all different shapes and sizes, and it really is my go-to. I even wrote it in the book, I'm not just saying this. This is my go-to meal prep container. They're durable, they wash really well, and they come in different shapes and sizes. They also, what I love about them is that they have the portions marked, so that makes it really easy when I am doing some single serve options. So we're gonna serve this up in two ways, and here's where I get to incorporate two other recipes from the book. So the first one is, I love rice bowls. My family's obsessed with rice bowls, so that's something that we tend to make a lot. But also salads and burritos, you can certainly just take these and traditionally just put them into tortillas, corn or flour tortillas, and have yourself a fajita night. But what we're gonna do here is use a couple recipes from the book. So the first one that I'm going to do, I have here, I have a big photo to show you. This is green herb brown rice. So this is a staple side dish in my house. I make a big bunch of brown rice, actually in my pressure cooker. It's the best rice cooker around. And then once it's cooled off slightly, I mix it, again, I'm boosting the flavor here and also adding some nutrients as well. So what I do is that I mix in some kale, finely chopped kale. I take a big pile of fresh herbs, but I add some kale and some green peas. So I'm gonna chop up the kale and the herbs really fine together, add some green peas. Today I use cilantro, again, just kind of going with this Tex-Mex theme. I use cilantro and green onion along with that chopped kale and the peas, and it just makes this awesome side dish that's super versatile. So the easiest way to do this, I'll put chicken, make sure to get my other veggies in here. Again, we know that we're getting plenty of servings of vegetables in this meal for sure. Definitely want to make sure I get some of those onions. And voila, there's meal prep option number one. There's a secret ingredient I'm gonna add at the end, but I'm gonna keep you in suspense a little bit longer. Other variation here is just make an awesome fajita salad. So I have some beautiful green leaf lettuce here that actually came from my local farm delivery that I just got. So same thing, kind of pile it on in here. This would be a great time to add some avocado. I have some lime wedges and some corn tortillas that are tucked in here ready to go. That's another great kind of way to round out this dish. And then finally, to top it all off, salad dressings tend to be very, very high in sodium and aren't always very DASH diet friendly. So there's plenty of salad dressing and sauces recipes in the book to help offset that. This is my jalapeno ranch dressing. some buttermilk, a little bit of mayonnaise, good old-fashioned mayonnaise. Again, this is all sort of balanced and properly proportioned, but we mix it with olive oil and some apple cider vinegar, a bunch of fresh herbs, a kick from a jalapeno pepper, and it makes the most delicious salad dressing, dipping sauce. I would put a straw in this and drink it if that wouldn't gross you out, but it really is that good. So to finish this off, this is my favorite way to serve it. You can certainly use this for a bunch of other things as well, but I'm gonna put a couple big spoonfuls of that jalapeno ranch dressing and finish off this meal super easily. So that is a crash course in my new cookbook, Dash Diet Meal Prep for Beginners. Thank you so much to Meal Prep on Fleek. Again, best containers ever for meal prep. And follow me on social media, more recipes like this, pretty much at Dana White Nutrition, all over social media, or other recipes at danawhitenutrition.com. Thanks so much.